Hello and welcome to the Low Code Podcast. I'm Faraz Khan from iTrack, and we are the global specialists in Outsystems recruitment. With this podcast, our aim is to increase awareness and appreciation of Outsystems and its impact and benefits to the market, and our early adoption is giving competitive edge to businesses worldwide. During our podcast, myself and my colleague Sushil Chauhan will be speaking to IT leaders and Outsystems MVPs on how Outsystems has transformed their businesses and careers. We also hope that by speaking to MVPs on their career journeys, we can inspire developers from all over the world to learn from others who have already been on the path. So let's go. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Code Podcast. Today my guest is Outsystems MVP João Souza in Portugal. Hey João.
Hey.
How are you?
How are you? I'm great, thank you.
We're both speaking from lockdown situations.
Indeed.
Hopefully, when this is released, we're not in a lockdown.
I hope so, but I don't think it's gonna happen. To be honest.
Well, yeah. Thanks for taking out the time to speak to us. It'd be good to kind of start with just giving us a background. Where you started, how you got to where you are today. Hear your journey.
Okay, so basically, I am an engineer by education and a developer by passion. I started my career as a .NET developer, and I made my way through time working mostly with Microsoft tools in Microsoft environments. I did several projects as a developer in different sectors. I worked at the public sector, telcos, law enforcement, insurance, human resources, logistics. So I still miss banking. Okay. To be honest, yeah. But definitely I've been around, and for the first 7 years of my life, I've been fully core developer. Then there was a moment when I realized that so I've been developer, so what's next? And in here in Portugal, we have a very known situation that after being a developer for quite some time, you have to become somehow a manager. Sure. And then I was in that career path, and then I did a master's in project management. Nice. So under the PMI framework, yeah. I got involved and understand a little bit more how things can work from the project management perspective, something more business or more management side of things. And then I actually changed jobs back then in order to actually fulfill the role. Sure. The funny fact that is that when I started to work more with Outsystems, so I did a lot of service management, project management only while I was in that company, but I ended up being connected with Outsystems. So basically, Outsystems was in the house for some time already, and we didn't have that much involvement of building new stuff and putting stuff, new features and functionalities live. And I said to myself, and to my manager back then, it would be okay for me to pick this up. And then I started after, and it was like the third time that I was looking at Outsystems, because I did some evaluations on the tool in the beginning, in the same company that where Outsystems started. I was there a few years in the 2005. So, yeah. But it didn't stuck. Some years later, I tried again and I did evaluations for the company that I was working for, but still wasn't the time to step into Outsystems. And then when I thought that I would become a project manager, I end up being working with Outsystems more, and that led me to after a few years. To go working abroad. That was something that I really wanted to experience, and it took me to the Netherlands, where I worked as factory manager in a big company, and then after a few times I joined a Dutch company, and I was there for some time. After a certain period, I had to return to Portugal. And I joined a company that was mostly working with the DACH region. Yeah. And with that, I did a lot of interesting things. And then I moved back to the company that I was before,
yeah.
to continue with the excellent work that they started with. And now I'm working for that company, still working for that company, but from here, from Portugal.
Yeah. So was 2005 the kind of first time you heard about Outsystems?
Yeah.
Okay. And when was it that you actually started working with
2012.
2012? So what version would it have been?
The version that I was starting working with, I think it was the version 4 or 5.
Okay.
It's still in Java.
Yeah.
And because I was coming from the .NET perspective, from the Microsoft perspective, I urged my manager to let's push this to the .NET world.
Sure.
And then we made an evolution, if I'm not mistaken, until version 7 or 8. I don't recall. And then I know that after a few years they end up upgrading to the current versions.
Sure.
But that's when I started. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously at that time, there probably a lot of people hadn't heard of Outsystems. What was your thought process, if that's a career you want to go down or not?
So basically, when I started working with Outsystems, the main goal, it was not just because it was just there to be picked up, but also because it helped me a lot on doing something that I was very bad. And I'm really bad on doing, which was the screens and all the UI part,
Sure, yeah.
And when I started to see all that accelerators that the platform will give us back then already, currently is way better. But back then I said to myself, wow, this is really the thing. So where I can put all my backend experience and leverage from that, and then leverage also from the easiest way to set up the screens and all that part was amazing. And that's what basically one of the big reasons why I started working with Outsystems.
Sure. One thing obviously we have is that, being a recruiter, we're always trying to convince guys similar path as you, started with .NET, Java, and get them to come over to Outsystems due to not many of you guys being around, especially at your level experience. There's a shortage. So we always try to, if you can kind of give your version of what is Outsystems, what is low code, like your overview.
So Outsystems, the low code is the amount of code that you need in order to make an application happen, right? And the quantity is low, right?
Yeah.
The beauty of Outsystems is that you don't have to worry too much with certain patterns that the Outsystems already has built in. So the only thing you can focus truly on the value that the platform can give, or basically the use case will have to produce, without focusing too much on the technology that will leverage that use case. Outsystems throughout the years have been increasing exponentially the patterns approach and the way to make the work of the developer as simple as possible. If you see now, we have the builders approach. They have a certain amount of builders that create already a baseline. So I remember the time when we needed to start an application by selecting the module, and after then the applications, and now you can actually start by after that came the templates for pages, and then the difference between mobile and web traditional, then React came, and now you can start from scratch with an application.
Sure.
So imagine when you have when we are building a lot of different use cases, and of course, currently, because the initiative is rather, we say it didn't come out that far away, that long. We don't have that many use cases yet, but imagine the potentiality of that situation. The number of use cases will increase, and therefore you'll be able to pick up from already a very baseline that is almost the baseline that can take you to production. Sure. And with that comes a lot of things that from scratch are already well written. The code is well written. So all the other concerns that you need to take, if it's performant, if it's secure, all those, or most of them are already built in the platform. So this in combination with, and a little bit more connected with your question, with the .NET and the .NET angle, you are still able to extend, okay, even the patterns itself, you are able to extend them. And that's really, really interesting, because if you, even though you have all those different use cases, when you go into a client, they are not exactly like that baseline. So you always have to extend them, and you can. And by extending them and the agility to extend it, it's really fantastic and allows you to actually focus on what is important, which is the business.
Cool. And have you found, when you're, you've worked at a number of businesses, have you found when you're pitching for projects, you might be the only low code solution to them, and they might have, a full code solution to compare with? What kind of feedback do you get from that?
I think that yes, I've been involved in processes where other technologies are also on running for having the projects, for getting the projects, but Outsystems position themselves in an area that not many other tools can be comparable. Okay.
Yeah.
There's always, if it's or in a no-code area and it's completely different from what Outsystems gives, or if it's something that is more or less what Outsystems gives, but in the end, the agility and the connection to the other processes is not that well available. Let's put it this way. For me, what I see the difference, and when we bring Outsystems, we bring also a way of delivering software. The connection between the platform and the agile methodology, and moving from starting to create factories from the small foundation teams and evolving it to the center of excellences, it's, I believe, what people end up looking for. Okay, they don't evaluate the capacity of a technology, but the surroundings also about the technology. And then, to be honest, the real difference is on who is able to deliver.
Sure,
and what we can see is that in the Outsystems ecosystems, we started to see more and more people with a lot of knowledge and very eager to do things right.
Sure.
And that's the thing that I like the most, and that's always what I talk when I have to pitch Outsystems into a client. Sure. Is that the quality of the people that are being involved in the community, it's really high.
Yeah.
And therefore they will always be supported independently of the provider or vendor that they are working as a professional service with them.
Okay. Talking about community, obviously you're quite involved, which is what probably led to your MVP status. When did that come about?
So it was when I went to the Netherlands to work. Back then, there was already some people working with Outsystems, and for quite some time already. That was a very interesting situation that I found. But in the community, that the Portuguese community in the Netherlands, we end up connecting it to the Outsystems meetup. Sure, and it was very interesting to see that in some cases we use the opportunity of being in a space talking about the topic that we like, but also an opportunity to get together and to because we were all different people, all Portuguese in the
expats,
same expats in the same area. And then I started to I was working with another MVP back then, and I started to be involved in it in the meetups. I was there mostly all the meetups, and then there was a friend of mine that was working with me that suggested to Outsystems that I could be somehow MVP material.
Sure.
And I like to, the things that I like the most is to teach and to share the experience that I have. And that's basically what a lot of the work that I'm doing today is around that topic.
Yeah.
And I was able to do a lot of continue to do a lot of writing, and I have some blog posts already about the use cases of the day-to-day situations that I find, and yeah, that's what led me to enter the MVP program.
So it's good that you were recommended rather than so like you were just doing what you love doing and it just got recommended to you, which is great.
No, definitely. I always consider myself having a hobby that I get paid for.
Sure.
and this, even though it's not that related, but it also connects a lot with the hobby part.
Yeah, sure.
So I am passionate about what I do, and I see a lot of potentiality in the platform and what Outsystems can bring to the clients when they adopt it the right way. Yeah, of course. And I like to explain what is the right way of adopting. And of course, then when we have the combination of these two, this is the right place. I remember that after when I returned to Portugal, when I was working for that company that was mainly in Germany, I kicked off the Outsystems meetups in Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin.
Wow.
And I remember that it is a market. It's a very green market yet, and back then it was even greener. And it was very interesting that before I had to explain what Outsystems was, I had to explain what local was.
They haven't heard of it. Yeah.
And then even though I always had a use case or something connected to a project, or it would be a mobile plugin or an integration that I had to do in a client that I thought, okay, this might be interesting to showcase. I always had prepared the first presentation where I had to explain Outsystems from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I always, after everything, I had to pull that presentation on and again explain, because adoption is it's a process.
Yeah, sure.
In these markets, but still very fun. It was a very fun moment that I had, and I still have, because I'm still involved in the German meetups, and that's something that I like to do.
Do you see? Did you get much positive response in Germany?
It's difficult because when I was there, it was starting. Even in this, there are some regions like this region. The South American and in the APAC area, regions that respond very well to the ones that speak their language. And even though they do understand English and they are very keen on talking, they can perfectly understand, but it's easier and it's more. The engagement is higher when we have people talking into the native languages, and it's a process. In the end, it's a process. It takes time.
Yeah. You mentioned the builders earlier, so I just wanted to since you've been using Outsystems for quite a while now, what other do you think kind of key features have helped them grow so much in the last 10 odd years?
I'm still from the time of IntelliWarp, which is
long time ago.
It's not. It doesn't have the same name anymore. But there are a lot of initiatives, and that's what I like about Outsystems around the platform. Not only the platform, but those initiatives. I remember the evolution from mobile 9 version 9.1 to 10. Which was a big leap. Now we have the React and the PWAs. We have AI driving developer in a day-to-day activities, providing option and different approaches to their code. You said the builder initiatives with the common use cases. On the DevOps area, lifetime and the DevOps, it's something that continues because it's a necessity of the market. We have Arquitecto dashboard and the training planner to connect to how to onboard new people into the technology, because with all these accelerators and all this easiness of adopting the platform, it end up being open for people that doesn't have a technical background, and we still need to, we see more and more people involved with the platform, so we need to find means to help them to understand the rationales of developing and to learn how to make it happen. So there are a lot of a lot of initiatives to tackle different approaches that the platform can give you. It's really interesting.
Yeah, great. And we when we speak to a lot of do you like we always sort of speaking to candidates, but do you ever get approached by junior Outsystems people or more someone who's not Outsystems asking for any advice on if they're looking to maybe consider Outsystems as a career?
Yeah, definitely. That's there are a lot of people that come to me in order to make that happen. I always try to guide them. One of the good things that Outsystems has, another one is that all content is free. Yeah,
yes,
you don't have any excuses not to know.
Yeah.
Just everything is online.
Yeah.
You have a personal environment that is given to you for you to use as you see fit.
Sure.
It gives you all the possibilities of learning. You have a forum that has fully dedicated people involved, and the ones that are not fully dedicated, that sometimes looks like they are fully time-based, looking at the at those questions in order to provide the best answers. So today, I don't think there are reasons why people should not embrace this and be able to go through the initial steps to become great developers.
Sure.
I think it's there in the open for everyone. Of course, that I'm still from the time where I learned everything by myself. There were a lot of years, and if I look back and if I look at my code that I wrote in the beginning in Outsystems, oh, thank God, horrible. I have a shame of myself when I see that code. But it's normal. It's a process. It's a learning process, and the thing that I did and what made me give a big step into my knowledge was then I started to discuss those situations with someone else, and that's when it started to happen, and that was very, very interesting, because then I started to see that there were others facing more or less the same problems that I was facing, and I was trying to understand, how do you fix this? How do you move to bypass this situation? What did you do? How do you adopt this new pattern? And that is a way to grow, definitely. And Outsystems meetups, they do their role there. They're a huge role there.
The community, great. And what do you see as the future for, at the moment we're obviously in a pandemic, things are changing. What do you see the future for low code and Outsystems?
I think the future is bright. To be honest, if you look at the evolution that Outsystems has been having throughout the years, there aren't that much question. They say basically what we see is that they have several initiatives, and we already discussed about them happening at the same time. So it gives a lot of options. So you can drive, or the evolution of the platform can be driven into the ones that the market look more. And so far, what I've been seeing is that it is being evolving in a very interesting approach. I just hope that it continues, because from the technology perspective and for the benefits that it brings to the clients, it's there, and it's visible for everyone, for anyone who wants. It can be seen.
I think also, like you said, that the meetups and Next Step, for example, all these things really help Outsystems grow, and people creates bigger awareness as well.
Definitely. Even though next step is more for a business, it's more a business event. Even though it still has these technical tracks, and I'm not going to talk about ODC.
Sure.
But it is interesting to see that the traction that the company and the platform is being gaining. You know, when Outsystems started to appear in those quadrants from Gartner and Forrester, becoming a leader on the low code and having low code, when low code started to be something visible, Outsystems was already there and a pioneer. It really pushed a lot of visibility into the platform, and now you can see. Basically, there are globally, Outsystems is almost everywhere. Of course, that here and there are still a lot of potentialities and a lot of markets to fulfill. But I used to say that if we didn't have any constraints about authorizations to live in certain countries, that you just need to select the place where you want to live. And for sure, there would be an Outsystems factory to manage, right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think at the moment what we're finding is, you know, like you said, in some regions it's very developed, and you know, and they're the hotspots for candidates as well. That's where, you know, like if you speak to someone, you know, we had a discussion with non-related to technology with someone in Portugal, and they looked at our website and they'd heard of Outsystems, where we then spoke to a customer in London who was a non-Outsystems customer who had looked at our website. And the good thing about the discussion was they said, oh, what's Outsystems? But by going on our website, it pushed them to actually go on Outsystems website. And this guy was the head of IT. He decided to download the platform and have a play around with it. And he said, oh, it's actually interesting. I might have some questions for you. And our next thing was check out the podcast if you want to know more, you know. So it's good that, you know, it's slowly, you know, globally it's getting, the word is getting around.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of traction, and it's inevitable that with that traction, people are getting, at least the ones that have more contact with the platform for longer periods, are contacted to join their ranks and then to be able to provide value for them. Yeah.
Sure. Well, being with Outsystems for, you know, using it for quite a while, did you ever, you know, look at any other low code platforms just to see what the differences were or compare?
To be honest, I've never been involved in that position, so I don't have that experience. What I know, I never did a deep dive into a comparison mode. So what I know is basically from the experience of others.
Okay.
And we already broached that topic, and basically, as I said before, in the end, it's not only about the technology, but it's the people behind delivering that technology and working with the technology that makes the difference.
Okay, and it'd be good to, you know, for yourself, you know, you've had a good career growth. What would be kind of, you know, what's your career aspiration, next step? Where do you want to ideally be, you know, in your career?
Definitely been involved with Outsystems, that's for sure. I've been putting a lot of time and effort on getting up to speed with all the evolutions of the platform.
Sure.
I like a lot, to be honest. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I like the power, the possibilities, and the speed of developing." Yeah, that's funny. That's definitely something to embrace. What I like the most actually is the power of refactoring, to be honest. You know, all the possibilities that because that's when I said that the combination between the platform and the agile methodology comes in. You know, you only bring value to your clients if you are able to collect all the feedback, submit it back to the pipeline, and being able to deliver it as fast as possible. You know, it's key. to reach to for some organizations key to reach at a certain time. And that's the thing that I love the most about the platform, is the possibility that you can collect all that feedback and put it up and back and be able to change. So we never know. I never know the future. And as I said before, there's a place where we want to be, and for sure in the future that will be
you'll hopefully be there.
A platform that you can manage and can make value, create value.
Great. Well, it's great to thank you for your time. It's great
welcome.
to kind of speak to you and hear your passion about Outsystems, because that's our goal, is for people to listen and hear others' stories who are passionate about it, and that will either drive them to learning Outsystems, or there's someone who's a junior who might want to be an MVP, or now we have champions as well. So
true. I know some.
So thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
We can maybe catch up again in a year's time,
maybe
see how things have evolved. Hopefully we're still not I'm in the office today, but hopefully we're not stuck at home, we're out and about. Or maybe even do a face-to-face podcast.
That would be lovely.
That would be the ideal situation.
Yeah,
amazing. Thanks for your time, João.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, fellas. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Low Code Podcast, hosted by iTrack, Global Outsystems Recruitment Specialist. Be sure to subscribe, and see you next time.